First of all, what we have studied last day, we will just conclude because last day we have not concluded. So we have started with the bifurcation of Vedic and Laukic literature, and later on we have seen Vedanga tradition along with Vedanga tradition, philosophical disciplines, and Upaved. Under this category, we have seen Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva, Sthapatya Ved, and later on we have seen philosophy of language, which is Bhasa Shastra or philology. And along with these texts, in under category of classical literature or Laukic Sahitya, we have seen different types of epic, play, drama texts, moral texts, and regarding scientific literature, we have seen different types of texts which is concerned with music, prosodical rules, dictionaries, and lexicography, and mathematical texts or code of conduct regarding to Indian uh, medical science, and all these things we have seen under this category. And on the way we have seen some uh, important aspects while we are learning, we are reading the text. So last day we have seen. I have skipped some examples, so I am just showing the slide. So if you are trying to understand the text Arthasastra or Yagyavalkya Smriti or Manusmriti, I have given some given the name of such type of texts which are very useful whenever you are talking about any text, not only Arthasastra. I have given the Arthasastra Yagyavalkya Smriti because you are well aware with these texts. But whatever texts are, if you are learning the text, for that you need to understand the main concepts, the division of that text, so that you can understand that text notion of the text easily. So if you are talking about Arthasastra, so what is the main theme of that text? You need to understand. If you are learning Yagyavalkya Smriti, you need to understand what is the main focal theme or why it is important for this contemporary world. So you need to bifurcate by points, subpoints, and different notions, so that it will increase your interest regarding that text. If you are learning, those are Sanskrit tradition. Now I am showing the poetic tradition. If you are reading Meghadutam, which is the most important text, one of the most important texts of the great poet Kalidas. So, if you are learning at that time, you need to find the sequence of mountain, sequence of the cities, sequence of the rivers, so that you can understand that text easily. If you are not going through the text's inner part, then you will not be able to understand what we are saying, what the text is saying. In the same way, not only the mountain, the places or rivers, but also if you are trying to know the text, that is not only literary aspect, but also the psychological issues, social issues, economical issues. So you need to not only in these texts, I will show in Buddhist texts also, you will find the same thing. So it must be your tendency whenever you are reading any text. At that time, you need to think more and more, and you uh, find the different aspects which you can correlate with the topics which you are finding in that particular text. So, if you are talking about that these texts, the single text I have quoted here, that is Meghdutam. So you can find the psychological issues in contemporary world, and if you are viewing the main leading role, the yaksh is in leading role. If you find, then you can find easily that what is the situation and why such type of stories have been imported. So you can understand easily. In the same way, if you are reading the text Mritchikatikam means the play which is written by the great dramatist Sudrak. You can find the all different uh, scenario of that particular society. What was the status of that society, and what is the main theme of that particular play. In the same way, if you are talking about the play which is written by great poet Kalidas, so you can understand it and easily. Because if you see the four verses, the verse is very famous, that Kavyesu Natakam Ramyam. In the visual, if you are looking for the poetic creation, Shakuntalam is the great, or Shakuntalam can be counted as a first. Tatra Ramya Shakuntala, Tatrapi Chaturthonkaha. In that play, the fourth chapter or fourth ank is very important. And Tatrapi Shlokas Chatushtayam. काव्येषु नाटकं रम्यं तत्र रम्या शकुन्तला तत्रापि चतुर्थोंकः तत्र श्लोक चतुष्टयम्. And if you see these four slok or verse, you can assume easily that for any society these are the base pillar. First is narrating about the patience, and second one which is talking about what to do, what not to do. Third one is third one which is saying about the environment. Basically, first what I have taken, that is not counted under that those four sloka, but first one is related to uh, the moon and sun. By quoting moon and sun, a poet is trying to elaborate the status of mind of the people, and how we can have patience when we are in trouble. So जात्ये कतोस्त शिखरम patiroshadhinam aviskruto runapurasara ekaturka, like this verse is there. So second one is uh, what to do, what not to do. Third one is concerned with environment. Fourth one, which is concerned with morality. And third one, fourth, the last one, which is talking for our next generation. Okay. In the same way, you need to understand the grammatical portion, and what is the uh, practical behavior, practical aspects of grammar. You need to understand. If you are talking about technical aspect, I'm not going to say the technical means technology related aspects. I am talking about the traditional uh, technical techniques. Whenever you are starting anything, any type of work or anything, please join on time. I have already sent the mail. You need to join at 5 o'clock. So please maintain the time. So I was telling that this is the technique which we have followed whenever we are trying to start some thing which is new one. For that, we must have the such type of determination, and that must be in positivity, with positivity. So that's why in Ayurveda you can find Shiva Sankalpa Sukt. And when we are learning about mindfulness, at that time, Shiva Sankalp Sukta of Ayurveda, that is very important uh, part. And if you are correlating the traditional texts, which is in Sanatan Dharma, and you are talking about Buddhist tradition, uh, in Buddhist tradition, if you are talking about Dhammapada, and here you are talking about Shiva Sankalpa Sukta, you can find the similarities. And when you are starting something, you must have knowledge about Anubandha Chatushtaya, uh, Sambandha Adhikari, Visaya and Prayojan, who is the who can do that work, or who is the uh, uh, adhikari. So first of all, we need to understand about that. What is the content, and what is the relation between those who is doing, and what should be done, and what is the purpose. So whatever you are doing at that time, you need to understand. Even we are learning Buddhist texts like Sadharam Pundarik Sutra, or we will learn about Lalit Vistar, we will talk about Buddha Charitam. You need to understand why you are reading that text, because each and every different purposes that for that you need to uh, have different approach. Otherwise, if you are trying to uh, learn that particular text for your any specific type of research, at that time you need to understand in that way only. And then Karyavastha, specifically Karyavastha is concerned with play technical terms, but it is also similarly used in uh, while we are learning the text, or while we are doing any specific new work. These are technical methods, technical techniques or method, you can say. If you are viewing the contemporary technology, that is also important, because whenever you are trying to translate, whenever you are trying to read the text for at that time, you need to understand the verbal roots, you need to understand the explanation of that particular verbal root. So such type of web pages, such a type of tools which is authentic, that is that you must know. Otherwise, you have not sufficient time to go through the dhatu part. You have not sufficient that you will memorize all verbs. For that, you need to go a certain computational tools or websites, or whatever you find for that, or PDF if you have. So you need to think about these things. So what these text, these slides are were remaining because we have not completed last day. That's why I have just completed, which is concerned with day sixth. Now we are proceeding towards the day seven, uh, which is concerned with Buddhist literature and Sanskrit literature. Okay, so now I am starting with the text and the slide, which is concerned with for today. Okay, so now today I just try to finish these slides. Why? Because tomorrow you will have one different class that will be engaged by Professor Rana Purushottam sir, and after that we will read some texts, inline texts, which will be started with Sadharam Pundarik Sutra, the second chapter. I will upload that text on your Google Classroom today. And who has not joined Google Classroom, kindly join Google Classroom. And along with that, I will send the uh, your homework, or you can say assignment or test, whatever whatever you are finding, that will be only on your Google Classroom. So if you have not joined, kindly join that Google Classroom. Otherwise, it will be problematic for you only, because whenever I will calculate your grade, that will be through that classroom only. Okay, so I have already mentioned it earlier. Today I will try to uh, resend the request. If you have forgotten, or if it is your not in your inbox, I will try to send request again. So now we see the about the tradition, literature, and philosophy. I am not going to elaborate the uh, its practical aspects or Jivan Charya, because we have not sufficient time to conclude all those things. But the literature and philosophical things, we just try to uh, mention here. First of all of you are very aware regarding all these facts, that Gautam Buddha, who was previously Siddhartha, he has spent his 29 years in Rajgriha, which is called as Rajgir right now. And we are talking about Sanskrit texts, Buddhist Sanskrit texts. So you must know about it, that uh, there are two different notions. First one is, who is talking about that Gautam Buddha Dharmachakra Pravartan was occurred in Sarnath. Another one, who are talking that this one, Dharmachakra Pravartan, has been occurred in Rajgir or Gridhkut Parvat. So first one, they are concerned with different group, uh, most probably Theravada group, and second one, they are talking about Rajgir. They are they fall in this one, Mahayana group. So you will see who is talking about Rajgir. Whenever you will see this Sadharam Pundarik Sutra, almost not only Sadharam Pundarik Sutra, even another text also, you will see that they are clearly mentioning that he was staying at Gridhakut Parvat at that time. This incident happens, so you will see clearly. So after when he became Gautam Buddha, because he was previously Siddhartha and now he was Gautam Buddha. After his nirvana, there we find there are two different groups. First one, why I am mentioning all these things, because when you are talking about Sanskrit Buddhist text, you will find major Sanskrit texts which are concerned with Mahayana philosophy, Mahayana group only. And this one, uh, previous one, also you will find that some texts which are in Sanskrit, but it is concerned with Hinian, you can find, or its translation you can find easily. But whenever we are talking about Mahayana, you will find maximum texts you will find in Sanskrit only. I will show some texts here at the end of this class. You will see. So there are two groups. Hinayan and Mahayan. What is the basic difference of Hinayan and Mahayan? When you are talking about Hinayan, the term there are two terms. First one is Hina, or you can translate it as the less, and Yan means the group, or especially that is Vakil. So this group is focusing on the individuals, and Mahayan, that is for Sarvajan Hitai, maximum. So these are the basic differences, and not only this one. When you are viewing the notions, or when you are talking about the concepts which has been developed in different groups, different by different groups, you will see that is Hinayan is more traditional, and Mahayan is quite in a reforming stage. Okay, so there are two different groups, and later on you see there are this slide is very important, so you need to take its a screenshot, or you can think about it, because just see there are two different groups I have already mentioned, Hinayan and Mahayan. Okay, Hinayan and Mahayan, and here you see there are two different groups gives those groups give different philosophical disciplines. Vaivhasik, Sautrantik. These are two first group, and Madhyamik and Yogachar. These are next group. So I have already mentioned all of you. Please come on time. It is creating disturbance. So as I have mentioned earlier, Hinayan and Mahayan. And in this slide, oof, Hinayan and Mahayan. You see, there are two different philosophical discipline you find under Hinayan, and in the same way you find the two different disciplines in under Mahayan group, and which is based on Vibhasa, that is Vaibhasik, which is based on Sutra tradition, that is Sutrantik. I am not going in depth part of this philosophical thing. I am just trying to clear, so that whenever uh, you are listening such type of technical terms, you can understand it easily, because this visual thing has much more capability to make you clear. So Vaibhasik is, if you are trying to find the name of that philosophical tradition, that is Bahyarth Pratyakshabad, and Sautrantik, that is Bahyarth Anumeyavad, and Sunyavad, that is concerned with Madhyamik, and Yogachar, that is Vigyanavad. So if you see the term, you can understand the notion. Bahyarth Pratyakshabad. Bahyarth means which is external things, internal things which is in as a concept, or pratyay, or some pratyay, whatever you are saying, or sport in grammatical tradition. So all these are almost similar, not 100% similar, but 100% all these are one, not one, but these are similarly used. Either you are saying sport, or you are saying some pratyay, or you are saying pratyay, or you are saying idea. All these are using as a similar concept, which is inside, and which is outside, that is earth, bahya, earth. So bahyarth means, if you can visualize, you can perceive the bahyarth, that is that means you are narrating about Vaibhasik. If you are saying that external thing, those are just we can gain the knowledge of external things, that is only through the inference or anuman. That means those are talking about, these are the group which is talking about such type of things. They are sautrantik or vajjarthanumeyavadi. Okay, and in the same similar way, madhyamik. I have not given the transliterated form because I hope all of you are familiar with Devanagari script, because you are going now, you are going to read the original text. If you are not knowing the this Devanagari script, then it will be problematic. Even that, if you are not aware with Devanagari, some of you or any of you, then please inform me so that I will try to convert it in translated form. Okay, because I am understanding that you are aware with Devanagari. That's why I am saying. If you are not uh, able to recognize these characters, so first one fourth is Vaibhasik, and outer side which I have written in white font, that is Vajyarth Pratyakshavad, and second one is from upper side Sautrantik, and that is Vajyarth Anumeyavad. In lower part, that yellow one fourth, that is Madhyamik, one, and the concept, that is Sunyavad, and Yogachar. Yogachar Vigyanavad. Vigyan again, that is concerned with idea. Whatever we are talking about. Okay, so Yogachar or Vigyanavad, or you can say Pratyayavad, like similar. Okay, so later on, now I am heading towards the literature. These are very specific concepts you need to keep in your mind. First of all, you find Tripitak, three Pitakas. Pitak means the same thing, that is just like a box. So, three Pitak or Tripitak. Later on, that will be divided in different five Nikayas and nine Ang, and the number of Dharmaskandha is 84,000. Okay, so this is the crux of um, Buddhist literature, earlier Buddhist literature. I am not talking about Mahayana tradition. This is it is concerned with traditional Buddhist texts. Okay, so first one, when you are talking about Hinayan and here Sarvastivadin, they these texts are concerned with Sarvastivadin, and there are three Pitak. Later on, we find there are three Pitak: Sutta Pitak, Vinay Pitak, and Avidhamma Pitak, and the content is quite different from each other. Here you see there are three Pitakas. First one is Vinay Pitak, Sutta Vibhag, Khandak, and Parivar. And you will see that subcategories and different types of uh, different categories will be under these categories. Another one is Sutta Pitak, Dirgha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Sanyukta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and Khuddaka Nikaya. And these are Pali form. If you are saying in Sanskrit, Dirgha Nikaya, Madhyama Nikaya, Sanyukta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, Chudraka Nikaya, like that one. Okay, regarding Vinay Pitak also, Sutra Vibhag, Skandhak, Parivar, like that one. And again, you see Abhidhamma Pitak, Dhamma Sangani, Vibhang Dhatu Katha. So you can see these are the different subcategories, subparts. Maybe spelling maybe wrong, so you can verify. I am sure that is not wrong, even because I am not the expert of uh, traditional Buddhist texts. So if there is spelling mistake or anything wrong, let me inform know, because if you will say, then I will correct myself. Okay. But I tried to give you the in the perfect way. Even that, if there is an error, you just inform me. So Vinay Peter, because we have seen here Vinay Peter, so Sutta Vibhang, Khandak, Parivar, and it has been divided in different varg. So you see Sutta Vibhang and Khandak, Mahavag, Chullavag, and Parivar, Patimokh or Pratimoksh in Sanskrit. And in Sutta Pitaka, you see Dirgha Nikaya, Madhyam Nikaya, Sanyukta Nikaya, Anguttar Nikaya, Kuddak Nikaya, and you see Kuddak Path. And under Kuddak Path, you will see Dhammapad. And Dhammapad is very interesting text, and you can say it as the Gita of Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist tradition. What you give the importance for Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Sanatan tradition, uh, the same we find for Dhammapad, and it is very nicely translated for by Acharya Rahul Sankrityayan. Uh, he has translated this text in Sanskrit, so it is very uh, nice text, and you can see the video tutorial that is only just the chanting of that Sanskrit text I have prepared for my students in Nalanda. You can find in my that you that YouTube channel. I have tried to present Dhammapad, not a whole text, some of those. So that is important, and I have already compared this one with Savishankar Sukta. Both are talking about, but it is talking. This text is talking about not only uh, bonus or mindfulness, but also the morality and different themes. So possibly just go through this text. That will be helpful for your uh, another uh, thought process. Okay. So now we see the commentaries on those Tripitaka, that is called as Artha Katha or Arth Katha, and you see the similar thing. You see, when you are whenever you are talking about Buddhist tradition, you can't forget the Sanatan tradition, because in Sanatan tradition or Vedic tradition, and later on you see Puranic tradition, you will find the same thing, that is not different at all. The content, the way of style of writing, style of presenting, and those narrations, you will see the same thing. We will see this text, Sadhanam Pundarik Sutra, you will find in the same way. We will see the Buddha Charitam, we will find the same procedure they have followed. That is different thing, that they are describing different content, but the main notion, that is the same. So here you see Artha Katha, Vinaya Artha Katha, Dirgha Nikaya Artha Katha. These have been given the name of different types of Artha Katha or Artha Katha. Why the Tripitaka is so important? These are I am just analyzing those texts. You will find the political scenario of that time, the economical scenario in the same ways, social and different thing. Whatever you are finding in other texts, you will see the same thing. But what is the difference? Why we are giving so much? Why we are emphasizing too much for Tripitaka and other texts? It is these texts have been narrated in the language which is very uh, easy to understand for the local people. For example, I am saying uh, we have different ideas, but if I am not able to convey you due to language issue or another thing, then it is useless. So in different text, there are so many ideas, so many things to convey to society. But the language issue it is not for today. It is we can find such type of issues in ancient time. If I am understanding Sanskrit text, I am understanding the notion of Buddhism. But if I am not able to convey those themes to you, concepts to you, then it is useless. And this is the thing in this class also you are finding some of you are fluent in English, some of you are not able to understand how to read the English text, or some of you are not able to read the Sanskrit text. So you can find it is for all of you. Either you are able to read a Sanskrit text, but you are not knowing English text. If you are knowing English without any issue, you are not able to read Sanskrit text. So we have issues. But Lord Buddha, what he did, he just tried to communicate what he has, that that extraordinary knowledge. He just tried to convey in their own language. So that's why if you see the language of those texts, that will be the language which was used at that time in that specific area. If you are talking about that specific language, that has been also changed um, uh, duration of the time, it has been changed. If you are talking about Sanskrit, it is also changed by Vedic Sanskrit to classical Sanskrit. Nowadays, we find different types of Sanskrit when we are using in without knowing grammatical rules or another issues. We are just using Sanskrit just to communicate. So, uh, but in Sanskrit, Parani grammar has been just one of the mentor. He was just looking what you are doing, and if you are doing wrong, then he is just forwarding that no, you can't do it in such way. In the same way, you are finding in different languages. So language issues are a very crucial issue at that time. Now you see Dhammapad I have mentioned here because Dhammapad was very important text. So I have just prepared one slide regarding Dhammapad, and it has been it was just moral preaches of Lord Buddha, and it has been if you see when it has been created, then you can assume that it is 300 BC, and it has been bifurcated in different vag. And if you see in Sanskrit, that is varg, yamaka varg, chitta varg, puspa varg. So if you wish to learn Pali, if you are fluent in Sanskrit, if you know the Sanskrit, then uh, most more than 60% Pali you will understand easily. Okay, so this one is now you have seen already here something which is in deeper part of those texts. I have just tried to mention here, but I am just skipping it because it is not relevant for this one. So Hinian and Mahayan, Hinian who is accepting that Dharma Chakravartan occurred in Saranath, and another group who is accepting that it is in Rajgrihi. Now you see Mahayan followers, you can find nation-wise, and unfortunately in India it is very less, and because this is the very uh, crucial, it is very important fact to know that you are not getting fame in your own village. You are not getting fame because uh, each and everyone is knowing you, and they are just either due to jealousy nature or something else. They never wish to give you the credit what you are doing. That is very mm, brutal fact. You can't you can't ignore it. So anyway, it has the Buddhist tradition is not much more popularized in India, and if it is being popularized nowadays, that has different cause. That is not um, the uh, attraction or affection towards that particular Buddhism tradition or Buddhism. Uh, that is not the issue. Some of those they are accepting, they are following. That is different thing. But most of the people who are accepting or understanding or trying to know about Buddhism in India, that has different causes. Okay, but I am not going to elaborate all those things because that will be very ambiguous. So, or mm, so now I am talking about Mahayan tradition. In Mahayan tradition, most major texts you will find in Sanskrit. So, if you are following Mahayan tradition, it is necessary that you must know the Sanskrit. If you are not knowing Sanskrit, then it is very difficult to understand the core concept of Mahayana. You can understand through the translation or any uh, other text, but that will be quite different thing. So you need to understand Sanskrit original text and Sanskrit grammatical portion, and this workshop, that is just an inspirational classes, so that you can go ahead in this workshop. You will not be able to uh, read whole the text, even Buddha Charitam or Saundaranandam or Lalit Vistar or any other text. You will not be able to read because these are um, the text which you need to spend more than 1 year. Then you can complete at least one text. So I am just trying to convey you that in which way you can read, what you need to do if you are trying to go through the text. Nowadays, what happens? You are just overviewing the text and you are understanding that you are the expert. For that, Acharya Bhartrihari, the great um, scholar, who has expressed their views in regarding morality, he is saying यदा किञ्चिज्ञोऽहं विप इव मदान्धः समभवम् यदा किञ्चित् बुधजनसकाशादवगतं तदा मूर्खोऽस्मीति ज्वर इव मदो मे व्यवगतः. There are four lines. यदा किञ्चिज्ञोऽहं विप इव मदान्धः समभवम् तदा सर्वज्ञोऽस्मीत्यहो दलिप्तं मम मनः यदा किञ्चित् बुधजनसकाशादवगतं तदा मूर्खोऽस्मीति ज्वर इव मदो मे व्यपगतः. It means when we are able to know something, at that time we are understanding that I know everything and no one has knowledge as me. And when we are going to when we are keeping touch with some expert or any scholar. At that time, we are understanding that we are the foolish one, and the egoistic behavior um, disappears, just like the fever when you are taking pills. uh, just like fever, it is just disappearing. Okay, so we need to understand, uh, and at that time only you can understand the way how to read these texts. Okay, so first of all, you need to have the politeness to you need to give importance to the scholar, you need to give importance to the text, you need to give importance to the author who has written such type of amazing texts. Then only you can learn, because if you have not nishtha, if you have not determination, if you have not the dedication, then you will not be able to understand such type of texts. Okay, so that's why again he is saying vidya dadati vinayam vinayadyati patratam. When you are getting knowledge, then you automatically you are behaving with politeness. And again, bhavanti namras tarva phalavi, there are so many things. So that main text, there are so many texts in Mahayan tradition, but the available texts which are counted as Navadharma, nine religions, or Navadharma, or Vaipulya Sutra. Vaipulya Sutra, if you know Sanskrit, it is quite easy to understand. Vipul means enlarged. Vipul, which is enlarged. So Vaipulya Sutra, which is represented as an enlarged way. So and Navadharma, then these are nine you are viewing here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So these are called as Navadharma. So these are the main point from where you can go ahead. Sadharma Pundarik Sutra, which is one of the important text, and you will find there are so many sub types means chapters. Here you will find in different parivarta is that is the name of the chapters. uh, Almost 27 chapters you will see. In the same way, you will see Lalit Vistar, Lankavatar, and so on. So you need to, whenever you are talking about Mahayan tradition, Mahayan literature, you need to keep in mind these texts. Not only these texts, if you see the different texts, these are mixture. These are not from Mahayana. These are also translated whole and soul, or in the part as the part of those particular text. It has been translated in different texts. You can see in these are in Sanskrit version. You can find it, and these are from Vinay related to Vinay Peter. You can find all these related to Abhidharma. You can find related to Jatak. You can find. I have previously I have mentioned the text which is following from which are following from Mahayan tradition. But now you can say in mixture form Jatak texts which are written in Sanskrit, stotra, praising Lord Buddha, or another one. You can find stotra literature. There are different stotra literature. I have given some examples here, which is written in Sanskrit only. And the Sastric tradition, you can find Pragyam Parmita Sastra and Madhyamik Sastra, which is written in Sanskrit. So these are different texts. Not only these in Tantra literature, and Tantric literature basically, if you compare with Sanatan tradition, you will find the same. That is different thing. Buddhist scholar, they are saying that Buddhist tantra was previously existing, and Sanatanis was they are saying it was existing previously. But I am not going in that deeper part. But if you see the mantra, if you see the different procedures, you will find these are similar. Even the name of those god, if you are talking about Tara and another one, you will find the similar, and that is also the another thing when both are claiming that Tara is coming from this tradition, and they are saying Tara is coming from this tradition. So, yeah, or you will see the Avalokiteswar or another concept of Buddhism. Then you can find it in Virat Purush, or in Vedic tradition, Purusha Sukta you have already studied. So all these things, these are a mixture. The basic thing we need to understand, all these are which they are trying to narrate, all these are showing the path, different path, but the goal is one. So we need to think in such way. Normally we what we find, they are just we are just trying to uh, cut the feet of each other. So that is not uh, the good thing, and that is not giving any different ideas. Because if you are trying to research, you need to be neutral, then only you can do anything. And not only tantric tradition, but you see the epic tradition, Mahakavya, or and you will find Buddha Charitam of Ashwaghosh. So and different texts are also available. And even if you see the Mahakavya tradition, you will find the same style, which you find in uh, this Sanskrit classical Sanskrit tradition. You can find it in the same way. And not only this one, but Sanskrit Natak, the play you can find in Sanskrit version, and all different texts are there. Now, yeah, this is these are the stories story text. You can see the number of stories text which is translated in Sanskrit, or originally in Sanskrit. You can find it there. Now, from the next day, we will start Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. And previously, I will just try to mention the Buddha Charitam, what we have mentioned in our course outline also. So we will see Buddha Charitam also, and this one, Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. And this will be the initial part of Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, because you will find Sadharma Pundarika Sutra in prose and poetry both form. Normally, what you are learning, Lotus Sutra, that is only poetry form. That is in verse, different verses or sloka. But here in Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, Upaya Kosala Parivarta, starting part is given as prose, not only the poetic form. So after this one, Atakalu Bhagavan Eta Mevartham Ruyasya Matraya Sandarsam Man Stasyam Velayam Imam Gadam Abhasata. So you will find after that you will find it will be in slope form or verse form. And one thing what will be very interesting in this text, what you are saying hybrid Sanskrit or Pali Sanskrit, you will find in this text. Even who is knowing Sanskrit, that will be sometimes confused that what term is used here, because that it is similar in Pali also, similar in Sanskrit also. Sometimes you need to take the part of Pali grammar only. So the this style you will find here only. So we will continue this text from day after tomorrow, because tomorrow Professor Rana Purushottam ji will complete his lecture, what he has started last day, and this will be the last slide of it is the last slide of today's lecture. If you have any question, if any doubt, you can ask, so that we can continue with your questions. And later on, I will give one announcement. Then we will close the session. Okay. So if you have any question, any doubt, then you can just raise your hand, and we will continue with your question. Okay, I think you have no question. Oh, you have question. Yes, Dr. Suresh,
Sir, good evening, sir.
please.
You have mentioned about the list of stories which are.
Please, please turn on your video so that we can see you. Hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, your camera is not working properly. Go ahead,
That is the
please.
reason. Sir, you
Go
have
ahead.
made a mention about different stories.
Hmm.
Avadhana Shataka, Kalpadruma, Vanamala, and
Mhm.
so on.
Mhm.
All these are originally written in Sanskrit or the translated ones, sir?
Uh, which are concerned with Theravada, most of those texts it has been um, translated only. But some of the texts which has been written originally in Sanskrit also later on. Okay, and some of the texts which are based on um, uh, previous tradition, but the text has been written newly.
So, among these, could you enlighten us about the original Sanskrit writings?
Original Sanskrit writing, just say, like if you are saying Dhammapada, that is uh, just translation. Okay, but when you
Oh,
are saying Jatak Katha, for Jatak Katha they have translated, but some of those Jatak Katha, they are just uh, changed completely. For such type of text, you can say that it has written originally, because they are just trying to mix up. Okay, but
and
most of these stories has been written on the base of previous text only. And for detail, you can read this one. Acharya Narendra Devji, he has written uh, all these notions. You know very well that text. That is very interesting, and it is in very easy language, and it is narrating each and every dimensions and facts of Buddhism. So you can go through this text. That will be helpful. Or
Narendra Dev
if
Ji,
you
yes?
are interested in original written text, then I will just go through the text which is written in such types, and I will inform you,
Thank you
because
so much.
I can't take the name, uh, because maximum of those texts, that those are based on traditional texts. Yes, Kumar Satru. Kumar Satru, you wish to ask something? कोई प्रश्न है आपको?
No, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay, no issue.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other question? Yeah, वर्षा रानी जी.
सर ये सद्धर्म पुंडरीक सूत्र जो है ये ओरिजिनली इज इट इन संस्कृत और इन पाली?
It is written in Sanskrit.
Originally Sanskrit.
Uh, uh, Originally, you can say that it has walked through the different countries. Now it is the first text what I am finding, which is Mithila Institute Darbhanga.
Mhm.
He has published the text.
Mhm.
But what you are asking, I have not found such type of original text which is written first time in Sanskrit, then translated in different language. So I can't say, because I have seen different text, and in the preface of those texts also they are not, they are just skipping, because we have one very uh, no, we can't say demerit, but we have a different tendency, which is very typical, which is very crucial part, and which is not able to, we can't understand easily, even it is concept or it is fact. We are not trying to elaborate all those things, even in the preface of the text or in inner part of the text. So I have seen the text. I have two or three different books. All they are mentioning that it has been translated in this text. It has been the Pandulipi manuscript has been found from different places, but they are not mentioning that that those manuscripts were written in originally in Sanskrit or any other language. Okay, so these are difficulties. What I am finding that manuscripts which has been received from Nepal, and it is preserved in Asiatic Society, Kolkata. Okay, and the time they are mentioning 1711 to 1712 century. Oh, sorry, Iswi. And in the same way, they are mentioning two different manuscripts, which is preserved in Cambridge University, and the timing is 1030 to 36 to 37 AD, and another one 1063 to 64 AD. In the same way, it is the manuscripts which have been received from Middle Asia and another places, but they are not mentioning. Yes, Bhim Kumar, you wish to add something which is unknown to us, or you are just trying to ask? If you someone
Yeah.
who has an answer of this question, please raise your hand, because I tried, because this question was moving towards us. So if you have question,
No, it's not
just
a question, Bipinji. Just I would like to know from you that, particularly when we are what you call dealing with the Mahayana Buddhism,
Mhm,
particularly the what you call one of the important Buddhist logical school or
mhm,
epistemological that school, that is Yogacara Buddhism.
mhm,
So the text, particularly from Asanga and Vasubandhu, Dignaga, Dharmakirti, and Dharmottara, Shantarakshita, and Kamalasila, all these traditions. So
mhm,
whatever the works, particularly like Dignaga's Pramana Samuchaya or Dharmakirti Pramana Vartika, Nyaya
mhm,
Bindu, and Hetu Bindu, and all these texts. So whatever the knowledge I have that regarding these texts, only Pramana Samuchaya, some parts have been translated, that too
mhm,
from Bihar Sanskrit Institute.
mhm,
So can you please tell me, because once I met the vice chancellor of the Saranath Tibetan University, Samten.
mhm,
Now he is not the vice chancellor. In the flight, I met him, and he told me that all these Buddhist logical works have
mhm,
been translating what you call in Hindi in their institute. This is
mhm,
what he told me. Even I have a talk with Professor Rana Purushottam Singh also while working on my PhD on Buddhist
mhm,
epistemology. So
mhm,
he also mentioned that mostly we have what you call Tibetan or Chinese, because
mhm.
those works were lost. So what
Mhm.
is your opinion in this regard? Is
No,
really what you call not getting any kind of works?
no, that I am emphasizing that is it written in Sanskrit, and it has traveled different countries and different scripts have been different languages, different scripts have been changed, or it was in different language, because as I understand, it is written in Sanskrit, and later on, uh, maybe the different causes, it is spoiled, or to the time period it has been spoiled automatically. Maybe different causes, because the area where it has been kept, maybe due to flood, or due to another thing, it has been no more, but
Yeah.
or it has been taken from someone to some another places. It is also the chance, and it has been intentionally translated in different scholar by different in different way, and it is also possibilities that it has been written in different way, but it has been it is changed now. For example, if you are viewing the Buddha Charitam, of course, you can find, you can identify this tendency easily. Okay, because you can't identify the original and duplicate. I am not saying duplicate, but in our term it is duplicate. So you can't identify easily. Both are such similar, but they are different. So these are the topics which is not for us, because we have not such capability to understand these things. But as I understand, these are written in Sanskrit only, on the basis of previous literature, because each and everything, if you see the text in Sadhar Pundarik Sutra and different another text, it is clearly mentioning Gridhakuta Parvat. And if it is written in Pali, or if it is written in different language, at that time we can say that the style of writing should be different. So that's why, and you will see the style of writing is quite like Puranic tradition. So it is near about that tradition only. That's why you can say, we can say that it is originally written in Sanskrit. Later on, it has been translated in a different way. But in this workshop, I can't say anything, because I have not evidence. If I am saying something, then I have to. So, and I have studied different texts, and even the preface of different texts. Somewhere, someone has been written, but I couldn't find. If you are finding, that will be very important thing, because we must know it.
Very true, Bipinji, because certain issues, whether it is metaphysical or epistemological, still debatable, because the kind of influence which Sanskritization people, they are towards what I call this traditional setup, and the one who is what I call from Chinese tradition, they are more influenced by their tradition. So
Yes.
still certain issues are very debatable, whether what I call
we can identify it.
yeah.
Such type of tradition tendency, we can identify it. Here also we will study the text. At that time we will just try to compare. If someone who is traditionally Sanskrit writer, or who is from another field,
Tradition.
the style will be quite different. This is the thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
another thing. Yes, Dr. Kuldeep ji.
Sir, what is the name of Acharya Narendra Dev's book?
Sorry?
Buddha Dharma Darshan.
Buddha
It's
Darshan.
Buddha Dharma Darshan. Buddha Dharma Darshan.
Buddha Dharma Charita.
You know, the text written by Sughosha.
No. Acharya Narendra Dev.
What you have mentioned right
Yes,
now.
yes.
Both about the Dharma Darshan.
Buddha Dharma Darshan. Yeah. It is in Hindi. Yeah. Buddha Dharma Darshan.
I will share this text as PDF in that classroom.
It's available, sir. It's available anywhere. Internet Archive, anywhere. It's available.
No, it's good.
Okay,
You share it, sir, please.
I will share. If anyone has any question, then otherwise I will close this session. If you have any question, you can ask. And tomorrow